YouTube channel again, and yeah, this is a new video. This is about Jetpack Compose, as you can understand by the title already. So now from today onwards, I'm going to make videos on Jetpack Compose UI in Kotlin. So why I was not making it before this, because the developer preview is just announced few days back, and before that you might need to have the customized version of Android Studio, as well as you need the different compiler. So yeah, that was a lot of work, and not everybody can do that, and that's why it doesn't matter whether there is a tutorial or not. But now, because it's in developer preview, so definitely we are somewhere, and now we can play with it, and we can see what it brings to the table. So it's very similar to Flutter. So if you have already some knowledge about Flutter, then you will understand everything. But if you don't have the experience with Flutter, so yeah, this will give you an Android application with declarative UI pattern, which is the future of app development. I'm sure about that. And then it is more like you have to write the code in Kotlin. So yes, if you love Kotlin, so this video is for you. And yes, this is still in a very early stage, so you cannot use it in production. So yes, let's start. So I will start with by creating a new Android Studio project, and then I also want to, let's say, okay, so we'll start with an empty activity. I'll press next, and I will give it some name. So let's say Jetpack example. So this is the name of my particular application, and I'll set a path for it. So Jetpack, and yes, okay, what I can do, okay, this is gonna create an example here, that's fine. And then the minimum API is 21. If you want, you can go below it, but yes, I have set the minimum API to be 21, which is lollipop. Minimum is lollipop. And now I'll like write finish, and yes, you will see this screen. So because this is the normal project you get, right? So that's fine, that's totally clear. And what I want to do, as you already know, what you get is these Gradle files, as well as this main activity, and then in the res, in the layout, you get this activity main.xml. So that we are not going to use this XML anymore. We will write all the code for the UI. So I'm gonna just delete this particular file from here, and that should be fine. Delete anyway. And now it will give me error because I don't want to set this content view anymore. So everything is fine again. Yes, yeah, so this is all good. Now one more thing I want to do, in the this styles.xml, you can see by default we get this dark action bar. So I don't want that, so I'll just set no action bar, so that we will apply the action bar by ourselves, right? So that's the idea. Now we have to go to build.gradle, where we have to add some dependencies which will be mostly related to this Android X Jetpack Compose UI. So one more thing I want to tell you is that now, because it's in developer preview, how we are going to use it. So basically now they are using the annotation processor, which we will use, as well as they are using reflection to support this Jetpack Compose using these libraries. So that's the idea behind it. So first of all, I'll just delete all these test things from here, so that it looks much more clear. Also, I don't need constraint layout anymore, so I'll delete this part. As this we can leave, because yeah, this is not creating any problem for us. So 1.1.0, that's fine. Now, because I told you that we need annotation processor, so for that we will apply another plugin, which is Kotlin capped. So this is what we need to have that annotation processor, right? And then we can say capped Android X, okay, and dot. So we can say compose, and then compose compiler. Okay, so something like this we want, and then we also have all the version, all the compose version in 0.1.0 dev 01. So I have already written all those things in I have the Gradle file itself, so I'll just copy and paste that, and you will see that this is what we need. So I'll just go on the top, this is the thing which I want, so I'll just copy from here, I'll go back here, and I'll just replace this. Yes, so as you can see, this is the same thing. And so what we have added, this is the capped which I have been using, compose compiler. So this is the capped, let me just remove it from here and paste it somewhere on the top after this. Yes, and then this looks good. So what else we have? So we need reflection, so that's why we are using this particular plugin on line number 37. Then this is the runtime which we need, and then it is all about the UI. So layout, foundation, framework, tooling, text, Android text, material. So we need all these libraries so that we can like it's very similar to Flutter, that we have to import Flutter material. So this is the material and the foundation, framework, all those things. I'll explain these in more detail in the future. So, and you can see the compose version we are using everywhere is 0.1.0 dev 01. Now I'll just press sync now, and it should sync the project for me. Now I'll go to main activity, and after this super dot on create, I'll just say set content, and yes, and here I can just write a text, my first text, and I'll say hello world. Okay, as you might have seen already that I showed you something just before this, which was this counter application which we get in Flutter as well by default. So we'll try to make that. And now if this is my emulator here, let's try to run this application here, and let's see what happens. Okay, this is not working as expected. We want it on the top, so we can write here, yeah, it's always on the top. And you can see we have this hello world on the top, and it is working fine. Now what I want to do, I want to do some styling, so I can apply some style here, and it can be something like this text style, and I can give it some color. So I'm gonna use color dot let's say we can use green, and now I'll do a hot restart by clicking here, and yep, the color is changed to green. As you can see, it's not as good as hot reload, but it's still in very early phase, and you can expect few issues as well, so don't worry. So I'm just going to remove this text, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create another composable UI. So for that you can use @composable, and then you can write your function. Let's say I'm gonna write my app, and now this my app is what I'm gonna use here. So I'm gonna just say my app, and inside my app I can have multiple columns, let's say. So let's try something like this. Let's say we have a column this, okay, and inside column, as in Flutter, we can have multiple children. So we can have a loop, let's say I in let's say 0 to 5. So we will have 5 elements here, and then we can print a text, let's say item, and then we can have I, and yes, this is fine. Let's try to hot restart once, and let's see what we get. Okay, we need to reinstall and restart the app. It is fast, it's not that slow. So you can see we have item 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 6 items, 0 to 5 including 5. So that's what we can do. This is the column as usual. Now we want some app bar or something like that. So in that case we will not use column, because what I want an app bar on the top, and I want to give the entire other space to some other element. So what we can do in that case, we can use something called a flex column, where we can have, so see, we have some property like inflexible, then flexible, expanded. So our app bar is going to be inflexible, so I'm gonna use inflexible here, and then we can have something called top app bar. Yes, this is what we call it. and then we have to specify its generic type. So if I open it, then you can see it takes a generic T, and then we have title, color, navigation icon, and all that property which we have already seen in Flutter. So I'm gonna say, let's say menu item, and here I can use this title, and title, okay, we can use somewhere like this, and yes, title, and in the title we are going to use text, and we are going to say JetPack Compose. Okay, yes, so this is looking good. Now I'll just do a hot restart again, and rather than seeing this like this, let's try to have this. So this is what we are going to make if you didn't see it earlier. So let me just close it, and yes, this is looking much better. Yes, okay, 1 second guys. Okay, now I'll do a reinstall and restart app, and it will take some time, and boom, it should be here. No, it's not here. Yep, let's try to run it again, and let's see. Oh, so many of the times you will see this kind of error when you will try to reinstall the app. So what you have to do in that situation, just click on build, just clean your project, and then rebuild your project, so that you know this error it won't keep stopping. And then if I'll run it, so this is our first application, so yeah, there can be some issue as I told you. Okay, it's still crashing. So yeah, let me remove few things. Let's say textile. Okay, what's the problem? I don't know. So app info, let's do one thing, let's uninstall this app entirely, because yeah, I have seen this issue a lot. Also, let's see what error we are getting, so that we can check if we are not missing anything. Yeah, no colors found, so that's the exception we got. Okay, we will see that what. Okay, so in the top app bar we need the color as well. So for color, no, we actually don't need it. Let's try once more running this, and then if it will not work, then we will try with some color. Okay, it's still terminated. Let's try with some color. Okay, although it should not be a problem, but yes, if it's causing a issue, so let's try with blue. And if I run it again, oh, it's still crashing. I don't know why it's crashing again and again, but yes, it happens because we are trying the developer preview, so there can be a lot of issues regarding this. Okay, so yes, so why it is crashing, let me just complete. We forgot one very important thing, so let me just remove the color first. And because we forgot, we used the material library, and this top app bar is a part of material, as you can see. So we cannot use material component directly into flex column, so we need to wrap everything with a material theme. So once we will wrap it with the material theme, we can remove this part from here and we can paste it here. So yes, this should fix it. Now let's run this again, and let me just close this window as well. Yes, so as you can see, we have this Jetpack Compose now, and now I can change the color. I will match it with the top status bar. So yes, so color, we can use UI.graphics, and you can use 0xff00. Let me just see what's the code of the color. So let's pick this color. It's okay, 00574B, 00574B. It looks good, and let's move to the next line, and let's do a hot restart. And you can see, yes, this is fine, this is the color we want, but this text is now black. We want to do it white. So here in this particular text, we can have a style as well, and similarly like Flutter, we can give a text style here, and we can give a color dot white, and yes, it should work. Let's do a hot restart again, and yes, this is now white, and it's looking so far very good. Now we are out of this inflexible. Now I'm gonna use expanded here, and then what we will do in the in expanded, okay, so expanded, if you will see, it takes a flex which will be a float value. So I can just give 1f, which means 1 flex, and then here I can specify, let's say in the center I can have another text, okay, where I can say counter count is, so I want a count. So here in the my app I can have a variable, let's say count. Initially it will be 0. So okay, so I'm gonna just say here count. Okay, so this is what we have. And now if I'll refresh or do a hot restart, again I need to reinstall and restart the app, and it should work. Yes, counter count is 0, which is again very good. Now after this expanded, in the bottom what I want again inflexible widget, so that, or maybe you can directly write whatever you want. Now in the bottom I want a row where basically in the end of this row, or I can use alignment in fact. So it's totally your call what you want to use. If you want to use alignment, then you can use, otherwise let's take a row and then decide. Okay, so I need to import it. Okay, row is imported, and then row takes main axis alignment. So first is main axis size. So I'm gonna use layout size dot expand. I want to expand the overall size. Then I want the alignment to be and then inside the row I'll use a padding. So padding is equal to padding equal to as in sets. So it's similar to Flutter all. And now we have to give some dp. So 16.dp, and we will import the dp as well. Let's see, we need to import this padding as well if I'm not wrong. Okay, yeah, so dp, we need to import the dp if we can do that. Okay, we have the dp. So yeah, it will give me some error. It will say that this dp is not supported because of one thing, which is basically we need to set the JVM target to 1.8. So what I'll do, I'll go to my build.gradle again, and here after build types, so if I'll go to back to my this, I can use this compile option and Kotlin option to my this here, so that the JVM target is 1.8. Now I will sync my project and it should fix this issue. Yes, it fixed this issue, and now it's 16 dp. And now we have one more error somewhere. Okay, this is the error. Okay, it's 0. Yeah, this is fine. Now here I want to add a floating action button. So floating action button, now I can give it a text. So let's give it a text, let's say add, and then it can also take on click. Let's leave it blank so far. And yes, so now if I do a hot restart, then you can see, okay, I have to reinstall and restart the app. And yes, we have this add icon. Now if I'll click on this, nothing will happen. I want to change the color of this particular floating action button. So yes, I'll just copy this color from here, and yes, it's looking good. Color is fine. Now I will also change the text color. So there is some text style as well. So I'm gonna use this text style from here, and I'm gonna paste it. Yes, so now let's do a hot restart again. Okay, it's not working. Okay, let's do a hot restart. Yes, so we have this add button here. Now I want to change the counter. So how you will specify states here, right? So what I'll do, I'll just change this from 0, and I'll use something called a state, which you can see from here, and I'll use the unary operator here, and I need to import it. Yes, and here I can just say 0. Okay, and now rather than using this count, I will rather use this count dot value. So let's see if I will use directly count, so I'll get some other value, which is not 0 for sure. So let's try, and you will see something like this, android x.compose.state, and this. We will go in detail later, but let's say now use count dot value, and now if I'll do a hot restart, it should show me 0. Yeah, it's fine. Now on the click of this button, I want to change the count value, so I'll say count dot value plus plus, and now if I'll do a hot restart, it should reinstall and restart app. So now if I'll click add, you can see the counter is changing now. Similarly, because it's a row, so what I'll do, I will have one more same element. Let's try this, and we will say subtract, and then we will say minus minus, and now I'll do a hot restart again here and reinstall and restart app, and yes, it should, yes. So we have now this subtract button as well, so you can see it's going in minus, and yes, it's working pretty fine. In the center of this particular here, we can have something like rather a column. So I'll just copy this text, I'll remove this, and I'll change this from center. I'll add a column here, and yes, I can say main axis alignment dot center, and then I can add a text, and it should work like expected. And yes, so count is 0, it's in the center. Now I will add cross axis alignment as well, and then also I'll make it center so that it should work. And now if we see it is working or not. Oh, it's not center. Why? Okay, we need to wrap it with the center, I guess, or let's try to stretch it if that works. Maybe. Okay, it's not working. Text alignment, if we have something like that here as well. Okay, so it's not working for some reason, I don't know. Although it's this center should also work. If it's not working, then we can probably wrap everything in center. So let's try that way as well, and let's so wrapping is very easy, especially here in this particular case with JetPack Compose UI, because you can directly use this curly braces and it works. Yeah, so we are good now. We have a text. Now let's say we want to use something like a container, so definitely you can use it. So we also have this container property which we can use. So yeah, it has all the properties, right? So it has height, width, and all that, alignment. So yes, it's normal to that container, except the fact that it does not have I guess the decoration property. So if you want to draw a rectangle or something like that, you have to draw it, I mean you have to paint it. So we can use paint. So right now I'm not going into detail of that because yeah, it needs a separate video, so we will go in more detail. Like right now we are using this state here. We can also use, like similarly to this annotation, we can use model, where we can specify a model for this floating action button, and it will work like this. So this is the first video. If you like the video, then press the like button, subscribe to the channel for more videos. So there will be more stuff on this JetPack Compose UI. I hope you enjoyed this video, and also make sure that you are on to the latest version of Android Studio, which is 3.5.1, and make sure to update your platform tools as well as build tools, otherwise you can face few issues. So try to avoid that, and this code will be on GitHub, so link will be in the description. So bye bye, take care, and I'll see you in the next video. I hope you will enjoy this series as well. Bye bye.